Who has the most important role in Toastmasters? Would you believe it's the evaluator? Our next speaker, a district evaluation contest winner, after years of study and learning from his fellow Toastmasters, has found out that good evaluators are essential for everyone in Toastmasters. Today you will learn why evaluators are the most important people in Toastmasters. You will find out what makes a good evaluator and a good evaluation. And you will discover the mistake that most evaluators make in their presentation and their evaluation that damages the speakers they evaluate. And now, please join me in welcoming Tim Wilson.
Why did you come to Toastmasters? Pardon?
To learn to speak.
Learn to speak. One more.
Find a mate.
Find a mate? How's that working? You're married, so probably.
Yeah, it's got confused.
Learn to speak, as Marilyn said. Anyone else came here to become a better speaker? A few. One or two. The reason most people come to Toastmasters is if we're going to become a better speaker, right? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's why most people come to Toastmasters. Become better speakers. Make sense? That's why a while back I came to this club, Extreme Toastmasters. You may have heard of it. And there was a guy there, Rocky Romero. If you don't know Rocky, he's black hair, medium height, salesperson, really good at speaking. I learned something from Rocky every time I talked to him. And the thing about the club is they take okay speakers. They have okay speakers coming in. And somehow, over some magic process, they'd have pretty good speakers coming out. So I wondered how this happened, how this worked. So one day I said, Rocky, how are you able to do this? How are you able to create these great speakers? And Rocky said, Tim, it's easy. It's about evaluations. Come on, Rocky. It's not just about evaluations. There's table topics, there's timers, all this other stuff. I mean, what's the big deal about evaluations? And Rocky said something to me that just changed the way I looked at speaking, changed the way I looked at evaluations, changed the way I looked at Toastmasters. Tim, the evaluation completes the speech. Think about that. The evaluation completes the speech. When you give a speech, Toastmasters, when you're finished, what do you think about afterwards?
How did
How
I do?
did I do? Exactly. How did it go? What happened? Up there. And then eventually, the evaluator comes up, and then you know how you did, right? Then you think, okay, that's what I did. Now I know. And maybe it's, yes, nailed. Or maybe it's, whoa, a little work to do there. Whatever it is, the evaluation completes the speech. So the evaluation is key to the meeting, absolutely key, because it completes the speech. So today you're going to find out about the two most important things that an evaluator does. You're going to find out about what the mistake many Toastmasters make is, how to avoid making that mistake, and you'll gain a tool to make sure that you're able to do evaluations simply and easily for your next time, regardless of the ability of the speaker. So I'm going to step you through, right now I'm going to step you through two things, and I'm going to cover a few other things later, but right now just talk about these two things. Later on in the presentation, Maria and I will be talking about how to become a better speaker, and that fits into the evaluation itself. I'll explain more about how that works later. But for right now, just focus on two things. The first thing you have to have, because if you don't have it right from the beginning, you may be hurting the speaker's ability to even speak. Maybe cutting the speaker down right from the beginning. Now, fortunately, in Toastmasters, most Toastmasters do this first thing. No problem. And in doing this first thing, they help the speaker and they make sure everything flows well. It's just a natural thing that Toastmasters does, and that Toastmasters International encourages. The first thing to do in any evaluation is to recognize their ability. Recognize their ability. Right from the first. Recognize those abilities that a person has. Now, if you don't recognize their abilities, you have what I call a scorched earth evaluation. Have you heard one of these? Brian may have heard those.
I've had a couple.
You had a couple of those? You know what I'm talking about. Anyone else? Okay, if you don't know what a scorched earth evaluation is, it goes something like this. Let's say somebody was a speaker and I'm evaluating. Something like, nice try. I don't know what you're doing up there. Speech in no beginning, no middle, and everyone's just praying for the end. Geez, you ever read the instructions for that speech there? Take a look at those objectives again. Yeah, read them this time. Oh, so many things. Let me count the ways. I'll talk to you afterwards, but for right now, just do this speech again and, do at least one of the objectives. Scorched earth evaluation. And I used to give these. I thought, if the speaker's not crying at the end, I'm just not getting through. So I was given one of these things, and at the end of the meeting, Rocky, remember Rocky? Mm-hmm. This guy said, Rocky came up and said, Tim, why are you ripping people apart in your evaluations? I said, Rocky, that's the way evaluations work. You rip people apart and they get better. Rocky said, no, that's not the way evaluations work. Tim, you get courage from knowing your strengths. You get courage from knowing your strengths. Right at the very beginning, you're young, you're new, you're a speaker, you haven't been up there before. If the first thing you got was a scorched earth evaluation, would you want to come up again? Maybe Brian. No? Doesn't want to go through those. Not pleasant, right? Those scorched earth evaluations. Not pleasant at all, exactly. So if you give one of those things, then you don't want to get up there. You get courage from knowing your strengths. So recognize their abilities right from the beginning, because you get courage from knowing your strengths. Now, as mentioned, Toastmasters is good about that. Pretty much every Toastmaster is very supportive. They say, here are the abilities you have, great. It's the second part of the evaluation. Many Toastmasters fall down. And the second part of the evaluation is that thing that really helps the speaker to develop. Now, this second part, the speaker doesn't really get anywhere. They just really don't develop, they don't really go anywhere in their speaking. With the second part, the speaker has somewhere to go, somewhere to actually progress and make progress. You actually get something out of that evaluation beyond just encouragement. And the second part is opportunities to improve. Opportunities to improve. Now, just as you know, the scorched earth evaluation, you don't have recognized their abilities. So with the second part of the evaluation, opportunities to improve. If you don't have opportunities to improve, you have the everything's perfect evaluation. Have you heard these? Now, maybe not in Extreme Toastmasters. But if you go around to other Toastmasters clubs, you're going to find a lot of these everything's perfect evaluations. You know what these are. If you don't know what an everything's perfect evaluation is, it goes something like this. Gosh, your speech was perfect. It was perfect from the beginning all the way through to the end. I can't think of anything you can do to improve. Just keep up the good work. The everything's perfect evaluation. Now, there's a problem with the everything's perfect evaluation. A big problem. And that is that if you don't get any feedback, if you don't get any ideas, if you don't get any thoughts, then everybody just kind of remains at the same level. Make sense? Whatever level you're at, you just kind of remain there and you don't get any better because you don't have opportunities to improve. And another thing happens, if all you get is this everything's perfect evaluations, you start at that level and you start to fall off after a while. Because everything's good, you don't really make as much effort, you're thinking, I'm doing okay, probably it's fine, everything's great there, no big deal. So your abilities start to fall off over time. Make sense? Okay, those are the two major parts of the evaluation. The first part, recognize their abilities, and the second part, opportunities to improve. Now later in the presentation, we're going to go over some things that really help you become a better evaluator that have more to do with the presentation area, and Maria will be giving a speech talking about how to become a better speaker, and we'll have kind of a Q&A session there. So we're about to break up into our Q&A in talking about becoming a better evaluator. Before we do that, though, what to do is people get together in two, maybe three groups, people per group, and what you'll do is just get together and start talking about some ideas that you've heard, maybe things you didn't understand about what was mentioned today, things that you haven't heard about before, things that I've mentioned, things you've heard that really work well with an evaluation, and just kind of talk about these ideas back and forth, break up for about a minute, and then we'll reconvene and we'll get your thoughts and your ideas, and we'll go into a Q&A, kind of exploring those ideas, going more in depth to understand, really help you become an evaluator that you've always wanted to be.